Have you ever wondered about the incredible miracles granted to Prophet Sulaiman, alayhis salam? His story is one of wisdom, power, and divine blessings. Allah had gifted him with abilities beyond human comprehension. He could understand the speech of animals, control the wind, and even command the jinn. But among his many extraordinary encounters, there is one lesser-known story that stands out: a miraculous event involving a fish. This is not just a tale, it is a lesson, a reminder of Allah's infinite power and sustenance. So stay with us until the end, because what you are about to hear will leave you amazed. The kingdom of Prophet Sulaiman alayhis salam. Prophet Sulaiman alayhis salam was not an ordinary ruler. His kingdom was vast, stretching across lands and seas. The jinn worked under his command, building magnificent structures, diving into the deep oceans, and bringing forth treasures. The birds flew above his army, guiding his people in their journeys. Even the winds obeyed him, carrying his throne wherever he desired. But despite all this power, Prophet Sulaiman alayhis salam knew one truth: everything belonged to Allah. No matter how great his dominion was, he was merely a servant of the Almighty. One day, he decided to showcase the blessings of Allah by hosting a grand feast, an invitation that would be unlike anything the world had ever seen. This was no ordinary banquet. Prophet Sulaiman alayhis salam ordered his servants to prepare an unimaginable amount of food. Gigantic pots were filled with delicious meals, golden trays carried fruits of every kind, and drinks were poured into silver goblets. But the guests were not just humans. Prophet Sulaiman alayhis salam invited all of Allah's creatures: jinn, animals, birds, and even the fish of the sea. The entire kingdom was filled with an air of celebration. People gathered, amazed at the generosity of their prophet. They knew that this was a special event, one that would be remembered for ages. The tables stretched as far as the eye could see. The food was plentiful and the atmosphere was joyous. Everyone waited for the prophet's command to begin eating. But then, something extraordinary happened. As the feast was about to begin, the ocean waves started to rise. The people turned their heads toward the sea, and to their astonishment, they saw something gigantic moving beneath the water. A massive fish, unlike anything they had ever seen before, emerged from the depths. Its scales shone like polished pearls under the sunlight, and its eyes glowed with wisdom. The fish slowly swam toward the shore, making its way toward the grand banquet. Then, to everyone's surprise, the fish spoke. Yes, by the will of Allah. The fish addressed Prophet Sulaiman alayhis salam in a voice that echoed through the gathering. It said, "O Prophet of Allah, I have come by Allah's permission to partake in this blessed feast." The people gasped. A fish speaking in a language they could understand? This was truly a miracle. But Prophet Sulaiman alayhis salam remained calm. He was accustomed to witnessing the wonders of Allah. He welcomed the fish and granted it permission to eat. The fish slowly moved toward the tables, its massive size towering over the feast. It opened its mouth and began consuming the food. At first, the people watched in amusement, thinking the fish would eat just a portion. But within moments, their smiles turned into expressions of shock. The fish devoured one dish after another, swallowing entire pots of food in a single gulp. The trays of meat, the baskets of fruit, the pitchers of milk, everything disappeared into the fish's mouth. The people watched in silence as the feast, which was meant to feed thousands, vanished before their eyes. Within minutes, the once grand banquet was no more. Every last morsel of food had been eaten by a single creature. The guests, both human and jinn, were left stunned. They had never seen such hunger before. Then Prophet Sulaiman alayhis salam spoke. "O fish, are you satisfied now?" The fish shook its massive head and replied, "O Prophet of Allah, I am still hungry. My daily sustenance is much more than this." The crowd gasped again. How could one creature consume so much and still not be full? At that moment, Prophet Sulaiman alayhis salam realized something profound. He, despite being a king with vast resources, could not provide enough food for a single fish. No matter how much power he had, he was still dependent on Allah. With humility in his heart, he raised his hands and said, "Indeed, it is only Allah who provides for his creation. No matter how powerful a king may be, he cannot feed even a single creature beyond what Allah has destined. These words carried a deep message. No matter how much we accumulate in this world, wealth, power, or status, true sustenance comes only from Allah. He is Ar-Razzaq, the ultimate provider. Every creature, whether big or small, receives its sustenance from Him. Hearing the Prophet's words, the fish slowly turned back toward the sea. Before disappearing into the water, it said, "O Prophet of Allah, do not burden yourself with feeding the creation. Only Allah can provide for all beings, and He does so in ways that are beyond human understanding." With that, the fish vanished beneath the waves, leaving behind a silent, awe-struck crowd. This miraculous story of Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam teaches us many lessons. The limitations of human power. Even a mighty king like Sulaiman alayhi salam could not provide sustenance to a single creature beyond what Allah had destined. This reminds us that no matter how powerful we become, we remain dependent on Allah's mercy. Trust in Allah's provision. Many of us worry about our daily sustenance, our income, food, and wealth. But this story reassures us that Allah is the ultimate provider. If He can feed the creatures of the ocean, He will surely take care of us. Gratitude for Allah's blessings. Often, we take our food for granted. The story reminds us to appreciate what we have and to share our blessings with those in need. Dear viewers, this story is more than just a miracle. It is a lesson in faith. How many times do we stress about our provisions? How often do we doubt that Allah will take care of us? This story teaches us to trust in Allah, have patience, and be grateful. If Allah can provide for a fish that requires an ocean's worth of food, He can surely provide for you and me. All we need to do is strengthen our faith, work hard, and leave the rest to Him. As the mighty fish disappeared into the ocean, Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam stood in deep reflection. The grand feast, prepared with the finest of foods, had vanished in mere moments. The people around him, including his advisors, the jinn and his army, murmured among themselves, astonished at what they had just witnessed. One of his ministers, who had been watching closely, stepped forward and said, "O Prophet of Allah, we have never seen anything like this before. A single creature consuming all that was prepared for thousands. How is it possible?" Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam smiled gently and replied, "Do you not see the power of Allah? We believe we are in control of our sustenance, yet in reality, everything comes from Him alone. If this is the hunger of just one creation, imagine the countless creatures across the earth, skies, and oceans that depend on Allah for their daily sustenance." This realization filled the hearts of His people with awe and humility. They began to understand the true essence of dependence on Allah, that every meal they ate, every sip of water they drank, was a gift from the Almighty, not from their own effort alone. Though Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam had been blessed with a kingdom unlike any other, this incident humbled him further. He spent the following days in deeper worship and gratitude, recognizing that even with all his wisdom, strength, and resources, he was still a servant of Allah. He prayed, "Rabbi awzi'ni an ashkura ni'mataka allati an'amta alayya wa ala walidayya, wa an a'mala salihan tardahu, wa adkhilni bi rahmatika fi ibadika as-salihin." My Lord, enable me to be grateful for your favor which you have bestowed upon me and upon my parents, and to do righteousness of which you approve, and admit me by your mercy into the ranks of your righteous servants. Surah An-Naml 27:19. This incident became a reminder for him, and for all of us, about the reality of wealth and provision. No matter how much we gather, we remain in need of Allah's mercy. One of the greatest lessons from this story is about rizq, sustenance. Many people worry about their provisions, whether they will have enough to feed their families, whether their earnings will be sufficient, or whether they will be able to survive financial hardships. But this event teaches us a clear truth. Allah provides for all of His creation in ways that are beyond our understanding. In the Quran, Allah says, وَكَأَيٍّ مِّن دَابَّةٍ لَا تَحْمِلُ رِزْقَهَا اللَّهُ يَرْزُقُهَا وَإِيَّاكُمْ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. And how many a creature there is that does not carry its own provision. Allah provides for it and for you, and He is the hearing, the knowing. Surah Al-Ankabut 29:60. If Allah provides for the creatures of the deep oceans, for the birds in the sky, and for the ants in their tiny homes, then why do we worry about our own sustenance? Prophet Sulaiman alayhis salam then gathered his people and addressed them. O people, do you now see how dependent we are on Allah? Do not think that your wealth, power, or efforts alone sustain you. Everything comes from the Almighty. Just as He provides for the creatures of the sea, He will provide for you. So never lose faith in His mercy and provision. The people, deeply moved, began to understand this powerful lesson. They looked at their own lives and realized how often they had taken Allah's blessings for granted. But what about the fish? What did it eat if even a king's feast was not enough? Allah had destined its daily sustenance in the vast oceans. The same Lord who created it also provided for it. If a creature of such enormous size could find its food every day, then surely Allah provides for all of His creation in ways that we cannot even comprehend. Even in the depths of the sea, where no human eye can reach, Allah sustains creatures unknown to us. Scientists today continue to discover species in the deep ocean, proving that life exists even in the most extreme conditions. This is the power of Allah's rizq, provision. It reaches every living being, no matter where it is. Among the crowd, the jinn who served Prophet Sulaiman alayhis salam were also in deep thought. They were powerful beings, capable of traveling across the earth in mere moments. Yet, even they could not comprehend how Allah sustains all creatures. One of the jinn approached Prophet Sulaiman alayhis salam and said, "O Prophet of Allah, we jinn can move at great speeds and carry massive loads, yet we do not possess the ability to provide for ourselves, as Allah does for His creation. Today, we have seen the greatness of Allah's rizq with our own eyes." Prophet Sulaiman alayhis salam smiled and responded, "Indeed, even the mightiest beings are dependent on Allah. He is Ar-Razzaq, the provider, and there is nothing beyond His reach." This story is not just an event from the past, it holds a message for us today. Many of us worry about our income, about whether we will have enough to support our families. But if Allah can feed a fish that requires an ocean's worth of food every day, He can surely provide for us. Sometimes we stress about our future, fearing that we might not have enough to survive. But remember, Allah's mercy is infinite. The same Lord who took care of you yesterday will take care of you tomorrow. We should never think that our wealth or intelligence alone brings us sustenance. Our efforts matter, but ultimately, it is Allah who decides what reaches us. After this miraculous event, Prophet Sulaiman alayhis salam spent even more time in gratitude and remembrance of Allah. He continued to rule with wisdom, knowing that all his power was a trust from his Creator. He reminded his people again, "O people, always be thankful to Allah. No matter how much or how little you have, remember that everything is from Him. Trust in His wisdom, and He will provide for you in ways beyond your imagination." Dear viewers, what can we learn from this incredible story? Trust in Allah's provision. If Allah provides for the largest creatures in the ocean, He will provide for you too. Never lose faith. Be grateful for what you have. Whether it is a little or a lot, every blessing comes from Allah. Do not let fear of the future consume you. Your rizq is already written by Allah. Work hard, but leave your worries in His hands. Remember that true power lies with Allah alone. No king, no ruler, no government can provide for you the way Allah can. If you found this story inspiring, like, share, and subscribe for more incredible Islamic stories. May Allah bless you all with abundant rizq and strengthen your faith. Ameen.